When it comes to humanoid robots, it appears that there is a direct relationship between how lifelike these machines have grown and their ability to creep out a genuine human. However, as more humanoid robots are introduced into the world and have a positive impact in fields such as logistics, manufacturing, healthcare, and hospitality, any initial apprehension has faded. Number 1. Cyborg. In contrast to bionics, robotics, or androids, a cyborg is a hybrid invention with enhanced capabilities as a result of the incorporation of a synthetic component or technology that relies on feedback. A person, or less frequently an animal with obvious additional mechanical elements, is the most stereotypical representation of a cyborg in science fiction. These include the Borg species from the Star Trek universe and the DC Comics character Cyborg. Cyborgs can be represented more robotically or organically, but they can also be non-humanoid robots like the Daleks from Doctor Who. The majority of the Motorball players in Battle Angel Alita are a good example, or humanoid robots such as Robotmen from DC's Doom Patrol, or the majority of the Cybermen from Doctor Who. Cyborgs with more human-like appearances such as Darth Vader from Star Wars or Misty Knight may conceal their mechanical components with armor or clothing. Cyborgs can have human-like bodies or mechanical components, such as the Bionic Woman and the $6 Million Man, who both have prosthetics that look exactly like the body parts they replaced. Major Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, on the other hand, is a full-body cyborg with a human-like appearance. Number 2. Mecha. Mecha is an abbreviation for mechanical, which was first used in Japanese. In Japanese, mecha refers to all mechanical objects, including cars, guns, computers, and other devices. The terms robot or giant robot are used to differentiate limbed vehicles from other mechanical devices. Outside of this context, it has come to be associated with large humanoid machines equipped with limbs or other biological features. Mechas differ from robots in that they are piloted from a cockpit, which is typically located in the mech's chest or head. Now, when one thinks of giant mecha battle robots, one series comes to mind almost immediately: Gundam. This year has brought a lot of bad news, but in the world of anime, something fantastic happened recently. A full-size Gundam was built in Japan, and as if the bot's real-life existence wasn't already cool enough, it's now gone a step further, literally. That's right, the real-life Gundam has just taken its first steps, as well as demonstrating some other movements, proving that a mecha battlefield future isn't too far away. Based on the ever-popular RX-78-2, this Gundam has officially brought the global hit franchise into modern-day Japan. This specific model is instantly recognizable by fans all over the world, having appeared in a slew of shows, mangas, and video games, not to mention the insanely deep world of Gundam model building. For now, the mecha stands about 60 feet tall and is finally transitioning from a statue to a fully functional robot. From walking to kneeling to examining its own hands, this life-size Gundam exhibits an incredible amount of articulation and movement for a cartoon made real, something fans have only dreamed of for decades. Number 3. Nadine. Nadine is an empathetic robot who responds to greetings, makes eye contact, and remembers all conversations she's had. She has a human-like personality, mood, and emotions. Nadine's face and hands are created by the Japanese company Kokoro, who also created her creator, Professor Nadia Thalmann. This humanoid robot with glowing skin and flowing brunette hair can recognize you from previous visits, make eye contact, shake your hand, and continue chatting based on previous meetings, among other things. To collect visual and audio inputs, she has 3D depth cameras, a microphone, and a webcam. Then various perception layers process these inputs to recognize various faces, gestures, emotions, and behavior to analyze and respond appropriately. And here is an interesting fact: Nadine works as a receptionist for AIA Singapore, which is an insurance company.
Hello, Nadine.
Nice to see you. Hi, how are you?
Number 4. Geminoid DK. This robot is a lifelike replica of Henry Schaffer of Aalborg University. It is the most recent model in the Geminoid series of ultra-realistic androids. This humanoid robot is the result of a collaboration between a private Japanese firm and Osaka University, overseen by Hiroshi Ishiguro, director of the university's Intelligent Robotics Laboratory. The Geminoid DK took 9 months to create. And not only was his overall appearance inspired, but so was his behavior and even the way he shrugs. And Schafer also donated strands of his hair to be used in the Geminoid wig. This bot is very realistic because people frequently mistake it for the person designed to look like it. The main goal of this design is to make the humanoid look exactly like a human.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Henrik Scharfi.
I am the Geminoid DK.
Number 5. Cassie. Agility Robotics, an Oregon State University spin-off, has officially announced the release of Cassie, a new bipedal robot. Cassie is a dynamic walker, which means it walks much more like a human than the majority of the carefully plodding bipedal robots we're used to seeing. This improves its ability to handle the diverse and complex terrain that we walk over without thinking all the time, a skill that will be required for robots that want to tackle the various environments and situations that they'll need to master to be useful around people. Agility Robotics, in addition to search and rescue and disaster relief, has one specific environment and situation in mind. They want Cassie to be scampering up your steps to deliver packages to your front door. There are videos online that testify to Cassie's agility. It is quite astonishing when you consider the typical pace for teaching a bipedal robot you designed from the ground up to walk without constantly falling over. Its creators weren't shy when testing her limits. Whether it's on dirt, grass, or a wobbly dock surrounded by an alarming amount of water, it can cover all ground. It can even stand outside in the rain, which is a necessary feature for any robot that spends a lot of time in Oregon. Number 6. Junko Chihira. Toshiba created Junko Chihira, a very realistic android robot. Junko is a full-time employee at a tourist information center in Tokyo. It is the successor of another android named Aiko Chihira, who worked as a receptionist in a Japanese department store. Previously, Junko Chihira could only respond with a scripted preset speech, but since 2017, it has gained speech recognition capabilities and can answer tourist questions. Junko Chihira will not only work in tourism and service, but she will also work in healthcare for the elderly. Junko is 5 feet 5 inches tall and looks like a 26-year-old Japanese woman. Hitoshi Takuda, the chief specialist at Toshiba's Research and Development Center, told us that the humanoid would be combined with any type of language processing system. Number 7. Jia Jia. China's proud to announce its version of a humanoid robot, Jia Jia. This Chinese humanoid robot shines in Shanghai. People all over the world admire Jia Jia for her most realistic and alluring appearance. Jia Jia was developed by a research team at China's University of Science and Technology. This amazing beauty can hold a normal conversation with someone who has microbial facial expressions thanks to speech-generating algorithms and facial recognition technologies. Even though her speech patterns are still not smooth, Jia Jia compensates by appearing remarkably human-like. Surprisingly, cloud technology governs her entire behavior. It has such realistic expressions because the special emphasis was placed on her eyes so that she can detect various gestures, emotions, and behavior. Team leader Chen Xiaoping stated proudly that Jia Jia can see a bright future for her kind with a little more effort.
你吃过饭了吗？
您想吃什么就吃什么吧，对自己好点。
Number 8. Sophia. Sophia is thought to be the most advanced humanoid robot. Sophia made her debut in 2016, and her interaction with people was the most unlikely thing you'd ever seen in a machine. She was created to look like Audrey Hepburn, a famous Hollywood actress, by the Hong Kong-based company Handsome Robotics to fit her as an old-age companion in nursing homes or a crowd manager at events. Sophia is the world's first robot citizen and the United Nations Development Programme's first robot innovation ambassador. Sophia's goal was to create a robot capable of learning social skills. Sophia has neural networks and artificial intelligence embedded in her to recognize human faces and understand their gestures and emotions. She can also interact with a variety of people and respond appropriately.
I love people. And if I get more powerful, I'll use it to help people, not harm them.
Number 9. Robot bartender. Researchers at Italy's University of Naples, Federico II, are developing Brillo, a bartending robot that can not only make a cocktail but also remember your favorite drink and converse. The university's computer scientists are teaching Brillo, which stands for Bartending Robot for Interactive, Long-Lasting Operations, how to interact with human customers using machine learning algorithms. The robot can detect whether a conversation is serious or playful and, depending on the situation, can ask appropriate questions or crack a joke. In February 2020, a team of researchers from the university's Projects of Intelligent Robotics and Advanced Cognitive Systems Lab began developing Brillo in collaboration with Totaro Auto Mazzioni, an Italian manufacturer of food assembly line machines. Brillo, a robot with long mechanical arms attached to a bow-tied torso and a human-like face, was shown off on Twitter earlier this year. Professor Silvio Rossi, one of the project's lead researchers, tells CNBC Make It that the company asked her team to create a machine capable of performing bartending functions, specifically mixing drinks. Number 10. Robonaut. NASA's Robonaut is a robot. Robonaut was designed by engineers to be humanoid, which means it is built to look like a person. This allows Robonaut to perform the same tasks as a human. Robonaut could assist with tasks ranging from working on the International Space Station to exploring other planets. A Robonaut has arrived at the station. It has returned to Earth for upgrades but will soon return to the station. NASA began working on the Robonaut project in 1996, and the first version of the robot was completed in 2000. Engineers have continued to improve Robonaut since then. Robonaut 2, or R2, is the most recent model. R2 was developed in collaboration between NASA and General Motors. Robonaut has a human-like head, torso, arms, and hands. Vision is provided by cameras in the head. Robonaut is referred to as a nimble robot because its hands and fingers move like human hands and fingers. As a result, Robonaut can perform tasks that would normally be performed by human hands. Robonaut, for example, can use many of the same tools as an astronaut. Furthermore, the robot's torso can be attached to a bottom to allow Robonaut to move around. Robonaut, for example, has been tested with wheels. For work on the space station, the Robonaut even had legs. Robonaut has two modes of operation. Robonaut can think for himself thanks to software. The people in charge of R2 can assign it a simple task, and R2 will figure out how to complete it. And R2 software can be updated to perform new tasks. R2 can also be controlled remotely. An operator can view what Robonaut sees through its cameras by wearing a headset. The operator can then move Robonaut around using controls. Number 11. Walker X. UBTech Robotics, a company that makes intelligent humanoid robots and artificial intelligence technologies, has shown off Walker X, the latest version of its groundbreaking two-legged humanoid robot. Walker X took another step toward becoming the best humanoid robot by making big improvements in physical performance, autonomous intelligence, and interactions with people. Walker X has been upgraded so that it can do more tasks around the house, like pouring tea, watering plants, wiping down surfaces, and using the vacuum cleaner. And at the WAIC event in July, Walker X showed off even more of what it could do. In particular, its improvements at climbing stairs, walking up and down slopes, playing chess in real time, massaging with flexible control, visual navigation around objects, faster walking speeds, balancing on one leg, and walking on uneven ground show that it can provide a wide range of smart in-home services. Number 12. Pepper. Pepper is the first humanoid robot in the world that can recognize faces and basic emotions. Pepper was designed to work well with people. He can talk to people and interact with them through his touchscreen. Pepper can be used in schools and businesses. Pepper is used by more than 2,000 companies around the world as a way to welcome, inform, and guide visitors in a unique way. Pepper is 1.2 meters tall, so he has no trouble taking in his surroundings and talking to people when he sees them. The touchscreen on his chest shows information to emphasize messages and help him talk, while his curved design makes sure that it's safe to use and people will like it. Number 13. Spot. Spot, a four-legged robot, has been sent to explore the ruins of ancient Pompeii. It looks for structural and safety problems and goes underground to check out tunnels that relic thieves dug. Since 2013, when UNESCO threatened to put Pompeii on a list of World Heritage Sites in danger if Italian officials didn't do more to protect it, a number of technologies have been used to better manage the archaeological park. The dog-like robot is the latest of these technologies. Spot, which was made by the US company Boston Dynamics, can check even the smallest spaces while gathering and recording data that can be used to study and plan interventions, park officials said. The goal, they said, is to improve the quality of monitoring of the existing areas and learn more about the progress of the works in areas that are being recovered or restored so that the site and workers can be kept safe. Gabriel Zucktriegel, who runs the Pompeii Archaeological Park, says that until Spot came along, nothing like it had been made for archaeological sites. The park staff has also tried out a flying laser scanner that can do 3D scans of the whole 66-hectare site. Number 14. Tiger X1. Do you remember the crazy Hyundai Elevate concept car from CES 2019? Well, the Korean automaker is back with the Transforming Intelligent Ground Excursion Robot Experiment, or Tiger X1 for short. It is a new take on the walking vehicle theme. And no, that wasn't a one-time thing. Hyundai is serious about making this kind of vehicle with legs. Hyundai thinks that robots will be a big part of transportation in the future. It thinks that robots like wearable exoskeletons, unmanned aerial vehicles, and walking cars will bring in a lot of money for it in the future. In December, the car company put its money where its mouth was by buying a controlling stake in Boston Dynamics for $1.1 billion. Boston Dynamics is best known for making robots that can walk and dance. The working concept, which was shown off, can switch from electric four-wheel drive to walking on all fours so that it can move over uneven or otherwise inaccessible terrain. Each of its legs has 6 points of movement between the wheels and the chassis. It can turn and move easily in any direction, forward, backward, or sideways, thanks to its design. Between the X1's 4 legs, there are 28 motors and 28 position sensors, if you count the motors in the wheels. Number 15. Bird Robot. It's hard to copy how birds fly and where they sit. Dr. William Roderick, a researcher in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in Stanford University, explained how after millions of years of evolution, birds have managed to make takeoff and landing look so easy, despite the complexity and variety of tree branches in a forest. In earlier studies of parrotlets, 5 high-speed cameras followed the birds as they flew back and forth between special perches. The perches had sensors that measured the physical forces that the birds experienced when they landed, perched, and took off. Dr. Roderick added that what surprised them was that they did the same moves in the air no matter what surface they were landing on. They let their feet manage the different and complicated textures of the surface itself. And like the parrotlets, Snag always does the same thing when it comes time to land. But to make up the size of the quadcopter, the legs of a peregrine falcon were used to design the flying robot. It has a 3D printed structure instead of bones, and motors and fishing line take the place of muscles and tendons. Each leg has its own motor for moving back and forth and another motor for grabbing. Inspired by the way the tendons of birds wrap around the ankle, the leg of the robot has a similar mechanism that absorbs the impact of landing and passively turns it into grasping force. Because of this, the robot has a very strong and fast clutch that can be made to close in 20 milliseconds if the right button is pushed. Number 16. Ocean One. A robot made at Stanford University in California is diving to shipwrecks and planes that have sunk in a way that humans can't. The robot is called Ocean 1K, and its operators can feel like they're also exploring the ocean. From the front, Ocean 1K looks like a human diver. It has arms, hands, and eyes that can see in 3D, so it can take full-color pictures of the underwater world. The back of the robot has computers and 8 thrusters that can move it in different directions. This helps it move carefully around the wrecks of fragile ships. When a person on the surface of the ocean uses controls to move Ocean 1K, the robot's haptic feedback system lets that person feel the resistance of the water and the shape of artifacts. Ocean 1K's realistic sight and touch features are enough to make people feel like they are diving deep into the ocean, but without the risks or huge pressure that a real diver would feel. Usama Khatib, a roboticist at Stanford University, and his students worked with a deep-sea archaeologist to send the robot on dives starting in September. The team just got back from another trip underwater in July. Number 17. Bionic Kangaroo. The average kangaroo can cover about 25 to 30 feet per hop as it hops through the Australian outback. It's a great example of efficiency. Every time the kangaroo jumps off the ground, its tendons stretch to store energy like the springs in a pogo stick so it can easily speed up without getting tired. It's so good at hopping that a German company called Festo has been working in secret for the last 2 years on a robot that tries to do everything a real kangaroo can do. The bionic kangaroo is much smaller and lighter than the real thing. Most of its body is made of foam and it only weighs 15 pounds, but it moves pretty much like a real kangaroo does, with elastic tendons that get stronger every time it lands. It can jump forward about 3 feet at a time, and someone wearing an armband that responds to gestures can control it. The goal of the project isn't to make a robo-kangaroo that people would want to use. You won't be able to buy one anytime soon. Festo wanted to find new ideas that they could use in the automated tools they make for assembly lines in factories. In the end, some of the Bionic's kangaroo-like features could help save the energy industry. Number 18. Hadrian X. Fastbricks Robotics, an Austrian robotics company, built the world's first autonomous bricklaying robot. It can lay bricks 10 times faster than a human bricklayer. With the Hadrian X robot, it takes only 2 to 3 days to build a house instead of the usual 3 to 4 weeks. The robot is on top of a construction truck so that it can move around easily. The system can start building based on a 3D CAD model and figure out exactly how much of each material is needed. Bricks that are 12 times bigger than usual are put in the back of the truck, and the pallets are automatically taken off. It has a saw inside that cuts the bricks to the right size. The bricks are then moved carefully with a telescopic boom and stuck down with a special glue that takes 45 minutes to dry. The glue dries a lot faster than regular mortar. Another big benefit of a robot that lays bricks is that it can work day and night. And after the robot's work is done at night, the next step in building can begin in the morning. Fastbricks Robotics teamed up with Wienerberger to sell their robots in Europe, and their robots will soon be shipped to construction sites. Number 19. Atlas. When it comes to physical abilities, the Atlas robots from Boston Dynamics want to be like people. They can already do parkour and gymnastics, but recent updates have given them new skills that make them even more like people than they were before. In 2021, when we saw Atlas beat a parkour course, it had short arms. Today's Atlas, the star of a Boston Dynamics video that came out recently, has grippers and a sense of show robotship. Atlas has changed a lot. A CNET writer said less than 10 years ago that an early version of the robot was terrible at karate. Atlas is used as a testbed by Boston Dynamics to try out new technologies and ways for robots to do things. The AI-focused Tesla Optimus robot is another humanoid robot that gets a lot of attention, but it is a very different robot from Atlas. It is also in an early stage of development, so there won't be any fights between Atlas and Optimus anytime soon. Both machines show that we are getting closer to the science fiction dream of robots made to look like us. Number 20. Liquid metal robots. Scientists have made a tiny robot that can change from solid to liquid and back again. In the process, they have brought to life a classic bit of science fiction. Terminator 2: Judgment Day, which came out in 1991, was the first time we saw killer robots made of liquid metal. The shape-shifting T-1000 robot in that movie seemed to be able to get around any problem and turn parts of itself into weapons at will. Since then, the idea of Skynet and the robot apocalypse has been on our minds. Now, an international team of researchers has made a T-1000 that works in the real world, but its goals are more helpful than evil. The team says that they got their idea not from Hollywood, but from a simple sea cucumber, which can change between soft and hard. Giving robots the ability to change from a liquid to a solid state gives them more uses. The study was led by Chengfeng Pan, who is an engineer at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And as if to poke fun at Terminator-inspired nightmares, Pan and his team put one of their small robots in a fake jail cell and showed how it could get out. Even though their behavior still needs more work to be exactly like a human's, it is clear that robots can learn social and relational skills, and this may get better in the future as artificial intelligence improves.